Good morning sa inyong lahat mga grade 10. Ang topic na ituturo ko sa inyo ngayong araw na ito ay solves problems involving polynomials and polynomial equations. So let us have an example on how to solve problems that involves polynomials and polynomial equations. Let us have this problem. The dimensions of a rectangular metal box are 5 cm, 4 cm, and 3 cm. If the first two dimensions are increased by the same number of centimeters, while the third dimension remains the same, the new volume is 30 cubic centimeters more than the original volume. The question is, what is the new dimension of the enlarged rectangular metal box? So, given this problem, we are going to solve this by applying these steps. So, how to do this? Let us analyze first what the problem is all about. So, in our given problem, we have a rectangular metal box whose dimensions are 5 centimeters, 4 centimeters, and 3 centimeters. So, it is stated that when the first two dimensions will be increased by the same number of centimeters while the third dimensions remains the same, the volume will be 30 cubic centimeters more than the original volume. So, with this kind of problem, wherein we are asked to find the new dimension of the enlarged rectangular metal box, the first step is formulate. So, what do we mean by formulate? In this step, we are going to write the concepts you need to answer the problem. So, we are going to apply the formula in finding the volume of a rectangular box. Wherein the formula that we are going to use is V equals LWH. So, this is the volume is equal to length times width times height. So, the formula for finding the volume of a rectangular box. Because in our problem, it is clear that the given data are the volume of the rectangular box or metal box and then the dimensions of the rectangular metal box. So, we are going to apply volume is equal to length times width times height. So, this is the first step. While the second step is we are going to compute. Here, we are going to write our complete solution. So, in the first step, wherein the formula is volume is equal to length times width times height. And as stated in the problem, the new volume when increased by the same number of centimeters, yung first two dimension natin, and the third will remain the same. Yung volume niya madadagdagan ng 30 cubic centimeters. So, in the left side of our equation here, we have three factors at the left. It represents the dimension of the rectangular metal box where the first two dimensions are both increased by the same number of centimeters. So, we have x plus 5 times the quantity x plus 4 times 3. So, yung first two factor natin ang nagre-represent ng dimension, yung first two dimension natin. So, yung x added to 5 and x added to 4. So, yung variable x is the number of centimeter added to the first two dimension. And then the third dimension remains the same. This is 3. That's why we have the quantity of x plus 5 plus the quantity of x plus 4 times 3. So, it stands for the length, width, and height of the enlarged dimension. Then, if we multiply the length, width, and height, wherein the first two dimensions are both enlarged o nadagdagan ng same number of centimeter, yung volume niya ay madadagdagan ng 30 cubic centimeters. That's why, yung original dimension niya, pag kinuha natin yung volume is 5 times 4 times 3. So, this is the original volume. Dadagdagan pa natin ng 30 kasi nag-increase na sila ng same length ng centimeter dun sa kanyang first two dimension. So we have the new volume is 5 times 4 times 3 plus 30. Now, we are going to simplify our equation. X plus 5 times the quantity of x plus 4 is equal to x squared plus 9x plus 20 using distributive property. So, x times x is x squared. X times 4 is 4x. 5 times x is 5x. Then 5 times 4 is 20. Simplifying that combining singular term, our middle term will be 9x. So, we have x squared plus 9x plus 20 as a product of the first two factor. And then, multiplied by the third factor, 3, is equal to, yung right side natin, if we're going to simplify, 5 times 4 is 20, times 3 is 60, plus 30 is 90. Then, yung left side again, we are going to simplify further, multiplying 3 to those terms inside the quantity. We have 3 times x squared is 3x squared. 3 times 9x is 27x. And then 3 times 20 is 60. This is equal to 90. And isusulat natin siya in standard form. Yung right side, make it 0. Meaning we are going to subtract both sides by 90. 3x squared plus 27x plus 60 minus 90 equals 90 minus 90. So, subtraction property of equality. So, if we're going to subtract 90 on the left side, so we have 60 minus 90 is negative 30. That's why we have here 3x squared plus 27x minus 30 equals 0. And yung left side natin is a trinomial, which is factorable. So, i-factor natin siya. Yung 3x squared, i-factor natin. Lagay natin dun sa first term ng binomial. 3x squared, ang factor niya ay 3x and x. Ayun, first term ng binomial. And then, si negative 30, let us think of factors of negative 30. Wherein it will satisfy yung middle term na 7x kapag dinoble check natin. So, yung negative 30, itry natin si negative 3 at saka si positive 10 as the factors of negative 30. So, negative 3 times positive 10 is really equal to negative 30. So, let's check if it satisfy our middle term. I-multiply natin yung means and extreme. Yung means niya, negative 3 times x is negative 3x. The extreme niya, 3x times 10 is 30x. If we're going to combine negative 3x and positive 30x is equal to 27x, our middle term. So, which means that the factors are correct. So, we have the quantity of 3x minus 3 times the quantity of x plus 10 is equal to 0. And then, since both factors are equal to 0, we can now solve for the value of x. From 3x minus 3 equals 0. So, 3x minus 3 equals 0. Find the value of x using addition property of equality. 3x is equal to 3. Then, dividing both sides by 3x is equal to 1. Then, for the second factor, we have x plus 10 equals 0. This is equal to x. X equals negative 10. So, we have here two values of x. X equals positive 1 and x equals negative 10. So, in our equation, x represent the number of centimeter added to the first two dimension. Meaning, if it is the number of centimeters added to the first two dimension ang inire-represent na value ng x, we are going to consider the positive value which is 1 and not negative 10. So, hindi pwedeng maging negative 10 kasi dinagdag siya dun sa first two dimension. Meaning, in step 3, we are going to interpret. So, we are going to write an explanation or interpretation of our answer. Sabi dito, since the dimension cannot be negative, so take x equals 1. So, hindi naman kasi pwedeng maging negative yung dimension. Kaya, i-disregard natin yung negative 10 as the value of x. Kasi pag naging negative 10 siya, magne-negative yung ating dimension. So, if x is equal to 1, meaning this is the amount of increment or the number of centimeter added to the first two dimension. Therefore, the dimension of the enlarged rectangular metal box will be equal to 6 centimeters. Bakit 6 centimeters? Kasi 1 nga yung dinagdag sa first two dimension. Yung first dimension natin sa original ay 5. So, dagdagan natin ng 1 will be 6. And then yung second dimension natin is 4 centimeter. Dagdagan natin ng 1 is 5. While the third remains the same. So, the new dimension or the dimension of the enlarged rectangular metal box are 6 centimeters, 5 centimeters, and 3 centimeters. If we are going to double check, sabi pag nag-increase daw ng 1 yung first two dimension, ang new volume ay magiging 90. Tingnan natin. 6 times 5 is 30, times 3 is 90. So, this is really correct. Okay, kasi yung original volume niya ay 60. 5 times 4 times 3 is 60. Pag dinagdagan natin yung 1 yung first two dimension, magiging 6 and 5. Yung third remains the same. Madadagdagan daw ng 30 yung volume, kaya magiging 90. And then double check naman natin, 6 plus 5 times 3 is equal to 90 cubic centimeters. So this will be the answer for the given problem involving polynomial equations. Polynomial equations. Okay. We're going to follow the 3 steps: formulate, compute, and interpret. So in your activity sheet, there is a given similar problem to what I have already presented to you. Just follow the 3 steps. I-pattern nyo dun sa example na binigay ko para masagutin nyo ng tama yung copy ng activity sheet na meron kayo. Good luck, grade 10.